Well, the new year is literally just around the corner. I know that it's only October, but I don't know about you guys, November and December fly for us and our family. And so getting prepared right now to start the new year well is essential. And if you're anything like me, you want to start thinking about your budget for 2022. And if that's you, then you need to stay tuned to learn all about the 2022 budget template. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin if you are new around here, and I blog over at thesimplyorganizedhome.com. I also share every single year a budget binder, and the 2022 budget binder is launching today. If you guys prefer more of a paper pencil budget, then I will leave a link down below in the description box where you guys can learn more about the 2022 budget binder. But if you prefer more of a digital format for your budget, which is what our family has switched to over the past year and a half, then you're going to want to stay tuned, because this budget template is amazing and has really changed the way our family has looked at our finances, handled our finances, and really got on the same page with our budget. This is a Google Sheets template, so if you guys are on the go, you want to have your Google Sheets, you want to have your budget template with you, just download the Google Sheets app on your phone or your tablet or any kind of device, and you can download your budget template that way. So instead of talking your guys' ear off about the budget, let's just jump right in. I'm going to give you a tour of how it is set up, as well as kind of show you guys how to download it onto your computer or device. This is the screen that you guys will see when you first click the link for the budget template. This is not something that you guys will be able to edit right away. You will have to go up here and hit File right there, and then you'll need to make a copy. If you're on a digital device like an iPhone or maybe an iPad of some sort, some kind of tablet or phone, then this is going to look a little different. Make sure that you guys go back to the PDF that you will have received with this link and look at the pictures and the graphics so that you guys know what to do. So you're going to hit make a copy, and then you can label this whatever you want. So we're just going to call this demo budget for right now. And then it should take you to a brand new page, and all of this will be stuff that you guys can edit now. So it's the exact same format. It's just all yours. Only you can see it unless you come up here to share it. So you would hit the share button if you want to share it with somebody, and then you can send it via email this way. My internet is going really slow today. So you might want to send this via email so that somebody else can share and use this as well. So if you don't want to share it, just click out of that. But let's go ahead and walk through all the different things that you guys are going to see on here. So throughout the year of 2022, you will have 26 paycheck options. So if you're paid once a month, you'll only need to use 12 of these. If you're paid twice a month, you might go only over to 24. If you're paid every other week, then you'll use all 26. If you are paid once a week, then you might need to go ahead and make 2 copies of this budget and have, 2022 first half budget, 2022 second half budget, which is totally fine. Then you would just need to add up these totals to get your full annual total. So what I like to do with these paychecks, I just have them labeled paycheck 1, 2, 3, all the way over. So instead of that, I would actually plug in the date that the paycheck is going to come in. So let's say my first paycheck comes in January 7th. Let's say there are 2 people in our household. Let's say we have Jim and Pam. If you're Office fans, then where are my Office fans at? Just hit that like button, because we love The Office in our house. And let's say that Jim makes $1,200 on his paycheck, and Pam makes $1,200 on her paycheck. So as you can see, there is a total net income of $2,400. So this is going to be a visual of what is in your checking account. Now up here, you'll see checking account balance. So when you start this, you need to look at your checking account balance, and you need to see what is still to come out before you get a paycheck. Or you might want to start this right on a pay period. And as long as you don't have any checks that are still withstanding that need to be cashed, then you should have a pretty good visual of how much you might have. So let's say you have $307.41 in their checking account, Jim and Pam do. starting out before they get paid. So now you can see that their income right here total is $2,400, but the amount that they actually have in their checking account is $2,707.41. So then we're going to start subtracting from here. Remember, I have 10 income sections here for you guys. So you might be getting that child tax credit. You might have that in here. You might get some like a tax refund in March. You might want to add that. Maybe you have a side hustle. You might add that. So all of these are options of things that you might want to do. Now, something else to note is this is the only box up here that you can edit that is a dark gray. This is the only one, this first one. All of these others are actually formulas. So this dark gray color right here, don't mess with those. If you accidentally plug in a wrong number here, it's going to mess with all of these formulas, you see. So just go up here to this little back button, this undo, and hit undo until you see that formula repopulate. And then all of these other formulas will fix themselves as well. So let's keep going. I have an off the top section next. So this is the stuff just like in the budget binder that you're going to see in the off the top. Now I've given you some ideas, but all of these are editable. So you can plug in maybe the name of your church. Let's say you go to, you could just say church here. You might say that you give to a missionary. You might give to an organization. Okay, you might give to a few different places. And then you might have savings, that just general savings. And then you might have an emergency fund. You might not have a general savings. It might just all be emergency fund. You might have investments. You might have a Roth IRA. You might have a Roth IRA for, like, let's say Jim and Pam. Let's say Jim has one. And let's say Pam has one as well. Okay. And so we're going to go ahead and plug in numbers that we would like to give, save, and invest in this section. So let's say Jim and Pam give 10% of their income. So they're going to give $240 of their net income right here, $2,400. Let's say they also give $25 a month to a missionary. And then let's say they want to add $100. And now this is, I'm saying a month. This is actually the paycheck. This is how much they're going to give per paycheck. So if the missionary, let's say the missionary, it's an auto deduct. So it comes out on the 12th of the month. And let's say we have our emergency fund set up to come out as well. And let's say that comes out on the 18th of the month. So if you want to go ahead and plug in your pay periods, let's just say they are paid bi-weekly. So you would just go up here and you would plug in those dates. These dates up here are really important. You want to know how long this $2,400 needs to last you. What needs to be paid between now and January 21st? Those are the things that are going to come out of this pay period. Okay. So let's say Jim's Roth IRA doesn't come out until the 30th of the month, but Pam's comes out on the 15th. So we know that her Roth IRA contribution is going to come out of the January 7th pay period, but Jim's Roth IRA contribution won't come out until the next pay period. So we won't log that one yet. Going down, and let's say our mortgage is on the 1st of the month. So you can just go ahead and plug these. These are things that you guys are going to want to do before you set up your budget. You're going to want to add in those due dates. Like our family, our trash bill is every 3 months. So what I like to do is I will put the 10th, but then in parentheses or just a dash, I will put, well, this comes out on the 1st month, the 4th month, the 7th month, and the 10th month. So I know that in January, April, July, and October, I need to add the trash bill into our budget. The pay period between, the 10th is included of those months. So that's how I remember those. So that's why you have a little bit more space in here, because sometimes bills are not monthly, sometimes they're bi-monthly or just a few times a year. And so those are really important to add in here. So all of these are going to be expenses that happen regularly that we need to always have in our budget. So we are always planning for all of these bills. We're always planning for groceries and gas. We are always going to plan for if we have any kind of prescriptions, maybe you have like a regular doctor's appointment, whatever it is that happens every single month, and you have plenty of room to add. I just added lots of miscellaneous columns so you guys can really make this your own. Then you are going to get down to personal. So this is kind of like your personal spending. So this is stuff that can fluctuate. This is stuff that you can adjust. If you guys are over your budget, this expenses section are things that happen every single month that have to be paid. So we're going to go down this row. We know that we get paid on the 7th. And so between the 7th and the 21st, we're going to find any of the dates that are between the 7th and the 21st, and we're going to pay those bills. So the mortgage is not included. Home insurance is. So let's say home insurance is $82.25 a month. Our electric bill is the 25th, so that will be out of the next pay period. Our water bill, let's say we don't know what our water bill is, but it usually runs around $60 and we haven't received our bill yet. So we're going to just plug in $60 right there. And then when the bill comes, we can kind of adjust that number a little bit and tweak it, because we're not going to spend every single penny of this money. We don't want our checking account balance to be zero. You are in control of what you want your checking account balance to be. Maybe you want to have $500 at the end of the month or at the end of the pay period. Maybe you want to have $1,000. Maybe you are good with just $100 or $150 because you're really strict with your budget and you don't go over. And that's fine too. Whatever you feel comfortable with. That's the most important thing. So this is January. So that means we will have a trash bill. Say our trash bill is $60 a quarter. So we pay that. We pay our Netflix bill, which is $13. We pay our life insurance bill because that's on the 10th. So that's $45. We pay our car payment, which is $300. And car insurance won't be till the next pay period. And our phones we already paid. So now we're going to get down into groceries and gasoline. So these are things that we have to pay for every single month. We have to put gas in our cars. We have to buy groceries. So let's say Jim and Pam have 2 kids. So let's say they spend $250 every 2 weeks on groceries. So this $250 will be what needs to get them from January 7th to January 21st. Now, we're going to keep going. Let's say they budget $100 for 2 weeks for gasoline. They don't have any other prescriptions or medical or any other things like that. Now we're going to get down into the personal spending. So let's say every 2 weeks they give themselves $100 of personal spending money. So they each get $50. This pay period, they want to go ahead and put $50 into their clothing money. So this is money they're going to pull out of their checking account and put into clothing. They have a child that they want to go ahead and get some money out for allowance. And maybe they want to do $100 for entertainment. Let's say they put $25 into their coffee fund. Let's say they have a pet, so they put $40 into their pet fund. And because they have a kid, this is kid expenses. So let's say we're going to change this and make this diapers and wipes and formula. And so let's say they need to put $75 into that fund. Okay, so now this personal spending fund is going to be tracked down below. So we're going to jump to that section down below because this is stuff that you are probably going to be using your debit card for. This is stuff that if you're not taking this out in cash and you're using your debit card, you need to track these expenses or you're going to go over budget. There's really no other way around it. So you're going to go down to your spending trackers and you're going to make spending trackers. Now, gasoline, we said we had $100. That was in there. Groceries, we had $250. Personal spending, let's say that Jim and Pam like to just take their personal spending out cash. So we're not going to track that. You can if you want to. You don't have to. Let's say for clothing, they're going to take that out in cash too, and allowance. But entertainment and coffee and pet care and diapers and formula, they're planning to just go ahead and use their debit cards for those items. So we're going to come down here and we're going to make an entertainment. Or we have a pet care already, so we'll have a pet care. We said $40. Entertainment, we had $100. And you guys have 12 different spending trackers to use down here. And then coffee, we had $25. So you guys can see as you go about your life throughout the 2 week period or month period or every week, however often you're paid, you need to use these spending trackers so that you're keeping track of how much you're spending in these different categories. So let's say they go to the gas station and they get gas at a Huck's. And it's for Jim's car. and it's $38.25. You will see that they have an auto-populated down here at the bottom, how much they have left to spend. And you might even plug in the date. You can really plug in whatever you want. So let's say this was on January 10th. And then let's say they go to Huck's for Pam's car on the 15th. And she spends $32.29. So you can see they have $29.46 left in this budget category. So they know how much they have left to spend. Don't touch these formulas because they will mess up if you do. Don't forget, you just can come up here and hit this undo button if you ever mess it up. It's not a big deal. And then for groceries, let's say they go to Kroger and they spend $129.25 on the 10th. So then they have $120.75 left to spend for that next week before they get paid again. So they need to know that their budget is $250. This is what they have to spend. This is how you keep track of your spending. This is how you don't go over budget. This amount is where you're going to get this amount from up here in your budget. And you're going to keep track of that. Now, what I like to do, and this is completely, personal preference, if I take it out in cash and it's already come out of my pay period, already come out of my budget, then I will come up here and I'll change the color. So I use blue if it's already come out of my checking account. If it's something that I'm tracking down below, then I will use yellow. So if it's these things, let's say I'm tracking these things down below, yellow, then I'm going to know that as I'm going through my budget, I need to check there to see how much I have left. Okay. So same with up here. So let's say you see that you're kind of in the middle of your 2-week span and you want to track what's come out. You know that Netflix has come out already and your life insurance has come out already and your car payments come out already. So you can go ahead and just kind of change those colors. That way you know how much you have left to come out. All right. So then we get down here and our last category is savings. So you have an off the top, you have your expenses, you have your personal, and then you have savings. So what I like to do for my savings is I have a sinking funds. So our family has a completely separate checking account where we keep our sinking funds. This is things like our Amazon Prime membership, our life and our home insurance and our car insurance policies, our property taxes, our vacation and our Christmas are in there as well. But all of that way I can just use that separate checking and I don't have to track that within my main checking. So let's say they do the same as our family does and they put $300 into their sinking funds. Now, there's also a sinking funds tracker down here. Let's say they do have balances in a few of these categories. So you can come down here to the bottom and you can look at this number. This number should be where you're starting at. But if you come over here to the very end, this number should be what is in your checking account. What is in that account. So you can look up through these numbers and this is how much you have saved. So as you're going across in January, 50 of that into car maintenance, 100 of that into vacation. They put 40 of that into car insurance, 60 of that into home insurance, and 50 into property taxes. Okay, so then we know that that's 300. That's how much we put in. That's how much should be in this sinking fund category up here. And then we can go down here and look and say, okay, we have now $150 in our sinking funds checking account for car maintenance. So if something happens in February where we need to do car maintenance and we need to go and have an oil change, and that's $45.62 to have that oil change, then that's going to calculate over here that we only have $104. So your additions go in the plus each month, your subtractions go in the minus each month, and then you will have a running total of what's in each one of these accounts. So this down here at the bottom should be how much is in that current, whether it's a savings account, whether it's a checking account, however you decide to set it up with your bank. We have a checking account. It works really well because I have a debit card, so I can easily go to my mechanic and pay a bill using that debit card, and it's not messing with my regular budget up here. I don't have to go and rework numbers or pull from a savings or anything like that. You're welcome to do that. That is not a big deal. You definitely have the space up here to do that if that's something you'd rather do. But we just choose to save a little chunk each month, or really we just do it once a month. They probably wouldn't put it in this next paycheck, but we just do it every month, and that way we have that money saved and ready to go. Now, you also might go ahead and use these little expense trackers down here so that you know what you need to save for. These are really good ways for you to know what sinking funds you need to have and how much you need to add to them every single month. So let's say your car registration is $100, and let's say your Amazon Prime membership is, I think it's $119 now. And let's say you have termite service every year, which is $100. And let's say your property taxes are $2,400, whatever it is. And then you can have the due date of when they're due over here, and then whether they're paid or not. So these would be annual expenses. And then you might have semi-annual expenses. So you might have insurance premiums that you pay twice a year. You might go to the dentist twice a year, and you might have a rough idea of what that's going to be. And then you might have quarterly expenses. So you might have lawn maintenance or just any other expense that you might pay quarterly, and the amount due, and then when it's due. Okay, so that's going to be over here, the months that they're due. So these are going to be really good ways to get started with sinking funds and which sinking funds you might need to use. Scrolling back up here to the very top, you'll notice that your checking account balance is showing right here. So this number right here is going to match what was left in your checking at the end of this pay period. So this is a formula, so don't mess with these numbers, but this is going to show you how much you have to roll over. So let's say Jim and Pam like to keep about a $300 cushion in their checking. So they have a couple $100s to play with. So they might want to come up here and mess with some numbers. So they might want to say, okay, well, let's go ahead and increase Pam's Roth IRA contribution by $100. And let's go ahead and increase our emergency fund contribution by $100. This is where you're going to be able to really focus that money in on the goals that you want to do. And you can also see exactly what's going to be left in your checking account if you stick to your budget. Now, once you have finished out your spending trackers, let's say it's January 20th and you've spent your money in your gasoline budget, but you have $29.46 left, then you know that you need to come up here and change what you spent in gas because you didn't spend all of your $100. Or let's say you spent a little over. That's why we keep a little bit of cushion in our checking account. Let's say that they went and Jim had to do a second fill up on his car on the 19th, and that was $34.89. And so he went $5.43 over in the gas budget. If you have a little bit of a cushion, this small amount right here is not going to be a big deal. You just have to go up and adjust that number. So instead of $100, they would have spent $105.43. So you go back up to your gas budget and you just plug in the number that you actually spent. Same with groceries. Let's say they went a little bit over on their grocery bill because they went to the grocery store a second time and they spent $124.29. They didn't bust their budget completely, but they did go over just a hair. So you can really keep track of what's in your checking account by just adjusting these numbers. So they spent $253.54 on groceries. So you just go back up here and plug in that number. And you can see how it auto-populates, tells you what's left in your checking. Now, if you are working your budget and something is just not working out right, let's say you are starting back, you missed a couple of paychecks of budgeting, you're trying to jump back in. You can come up here and it's going to mess up the formula, but it's not going to mess up the remainder of your budget. So let's say we need to adjust this because we did a little bit of spending and we got off budget and we have $251.29. You can just adjust that number right there and start fresh. Don't feel like you guys have to just start a whole new budget. You don't have to do that. So then you would just start your budget again. Let's say they have 2 kids and they get the child tax credit. That might be gone in 2022, but we're just going to play like it's there. And then you would just go down and you would do the same thing. And then you can just keep going down, knowing that you need to cover everything from January 21st until you get paid again on February 4th. So you would know you need to pay your mortgage, and you would know you need to pay your electric bill. You might not know what your electric bill is, but you can say, well, it's probably going to be around $250. When that bill comes in and you know what it is, you would come back here and you would plug in the actual number of what it is, just like that. So then another feature of this budget is that it's going to give you an annual total. So you're going to be able to see your net income, what actually comes in from different categories over here, and how much your overall net income was, how much you actually brought in throughout the entire year. It's going to show you how much you've given right here, how much you've saved, how much you've invested. It's going to show you how much you've spent in all of your different expenses, like how much you've paid towards your mortgage, how much you spent on, and this is can be really insightful, how much you spent on subscriptions or your phones or groceries, gasoline, your spending in entertainment. All of these numbers can be really, really insightful and kind of eye-opening. And then also how much you spent in your different savings categories. So that's going to give you an annual total right there. You'll also notice that these numbers roll over. So if you know that you have more bills coming up, let's say in February you have a bigger bill and you want to save a little bit, you might say, well, I don't want to get our checking account down to $300. I want to make sure that we have $600 left. You can do that. You can just kind of keep track of this number, make sure that you're really adjusting your numbers and keep that $600 in there. I hope that you guys found this helpful. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to comment below or send me an email at the email in the description box. Well, I hope you guys found this tour of the budget template helpful. I will be definitely doing a budget with me, sharing how our family uses this budget template very soon. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Please hit that like button if this video was helpful for you. And I will leave the links to the budget template and all of the different products that you guys might be interested in to get set up with your budget for 2022 and beyond down below. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in my next video.